Then welcome everybody to the Strathcona Gardens Commission meeting of Wednesday, March 10th, 2021. We have a quorum, so we'll call the meeting to order and ask for adoption of the agenda as per section C.
Move adoption.
Second.
Okay, and Commissioner Gunnerud and Commissioner Lee, 1-2. Any discussion? Anyone opposed? That is carried. Mr. Yates, any petitions or delegations?
None, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Moving on to adoption of the minutes of February 10th.
Move adoption.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, is anyone opposed? That is carried. Chair's report, nothing that isn't already in the agenda. I have had a lot of texts and emails going back and forth with the VHHL board and also the Storm franchise, but you've got that for receipt, so we'll cover it then. So going on staff reports, extension of the Rod Brindamore ice season item for receipt.
Move receipt.
Is there a seconder?
Second.
Thank you. Discussion? Mr. Leach?
We'll have Corinne speak to this if we can.
Thank you.
Hi, good afternoon. Through the CEO and through the chair to the commission. The staff report was written prior to the announcement of the VIJHL canceling their season. So this was in response to their request to extend the ice season further past the season once they were able to play games. But as we all know, the PH or provincial health orders have still required no gameplay within the facility, and that is how we are still operating today. The staff report just assumed under the auspice that they were going to continue, that we would continue with our regularly scheduled program as it was set up in the budget and established in the 5-year financial plan. So it is actually kind of a no-starter right now because they actually have publicly announced that they will be not extending their season, and they will resume play back, hopefully resume play if everything goes well and everybody's vaccinated, and we can move on to having a better season for the 2021-2022 season.
So, Ms. Correct, just to confirm, then that means the presentation that you had previously provided, you're now clear to continue to move ahead with that?
So, with this in mind, we will continue with our regularly spring program and our user book dry floor bookings for the Rod Brindamore Arena, including Junior B lacrosse and minor lacrosse. Everybody still knows that all of the parameters and PHO orders still apply in the dry floor space as well.
Thank you. Questions from the commission on receipt? Seeing none. Anyone opposed? That's carried. On to B, to maintain the existing established schedule.
I'll move B that Strathcona Gardens maintain the established 2021 ice removal schedule, April 11 and Rod Brindamore, and May 24 and number 2.
Second.
Discussion? Ms. Correct, have the Storm requested just ice time up until the 11th, or are they done?
They are still continuing to play right now with their ice time.
Okay.
So I know they were out practicing today. And so as of yet, I still have not seen any cancellation.
Okay. So on the on B, on the motion that's moved and seconded, anyone opposed? That is carried. Item C, that the following letter be prepared advising the league's district's decision.
Move C.
Second, although is it really redundant now?
CAO, I guess this really isn't required, is it?
No, not really.
So what I would suggest is maybe amending the letter, if I can propose, amending the letter that the chair thank the VIHL for the partnership and collaboration. And the Strathcona Gardens Commission is committed to working with the VHL and the Storm Hockey Club for the return to play and a successful 2021-2022 season.
I'll move that.
And Mr. Yates, I can get that in writing to you if that is helpful.
We have a recording, so we should be good.
Okay. Anyone opposed? That's carried. Section 2, leisure ice involvement for everyone, being the LIFE program and COVID-19 for receipt, the CAO report.
Move receipt.
Second.
Discussion?
Corinne?
Yes, through the CEO and through the chair to the commission members. I will hand this over to Ryan, who will speak on behalf of this report.
Good afternoon, Commission. Thank you very much. So on the purpose of this report is to bring the Commission up to date on the LIFE program as it currently stands at Strathcona Gardens, what some of the other districts are currently doing, and what we would like to be doing potentially moving forward. So on November 4th, 2020, Strathcona Regional Gardens reestablished our modified LIFE program. So what we recall is we removed the 104 free visits for the year, drop-in free access, but it extended the 3 program purchases, that 50% off, to include punch passes, programs, and just general access. And the reason we did that was to try to take a balanced approach to having people have access to the facility and still being financially responsible in an environment where we had limited numbers that we could actually get into our pool, for example, at any one time. This has worked well for the first few months. But what we are finding now is as we move into more family-based programs, everyone welcome swims, more public skating, we're going to have individuals that have financial challenges that really just cannot afford even the 50% off to come in. So we did some look, and we had some conversations with our neighbors and partners, the City of Campbell River, as well as Comox Valley Regional District, as well as other districts on the island and the mainland, and they have all moved back towards their fully established LIFE or play programs. And we are looking to do the same. However, wanted to be clear with the Commission any of the potential financial impacts that this may have and our decisions to do so. So as an example, January of this year, our swimming pool revenue was down 39%. All right. And with, of course, there may be some issues with that when we bring the LIFE program back in, and that could fall a little bit further. However, since we implemented this plan in November 4th, we've had 19 individuals for a total of 112 visits under the current LIFE program in the last 4 months, which really means 1 visit a day. And that's not reaching our families. It served its purpose, but we feel that now would be a good time to move forwards. Of that, we require about $350, a little under $350 in potential refunds to those LIFE Pass members that have purchased passes. And the timing works well for us as well, because the LIFE Pass will expire May 31st of 2021. So that gives us about 10 weeks to see what those financial implications may be and determine with this LIFE Pass moving forward how that may affect Strathcona Gardens. So with that, I'm happy to answer any questions.
Questions from the Commission? Just maybe through to Mr. Leach. We still have a considerable amount of money from the COVID relief sitting in abeyance. If we are looking to prop up and support this, is that an area of revenue?
I think so, yeah. I mean, I think we kind of earmarked that remaining money mostly for the gardens. We really exhausted the things in other areas, in the parks and the electoral areas and the admin that we could use the COVID for. So I think there's about 300 grand or so, maybe a little bit more. And I would plan mostly on it for being earmarked towards the gardens. We've run out of other things that we can use it for.
Okay. Seeing no other questions for receipt of the report. Anyone opposed? That is carried. Item B, to endorse the plan to return. Councillor Gunner.
I would move B, that the commission endorse a plan to return the 2020-2021 life program, including the 3 purchases at 50%.
Do we have a seconder?
Second.
And Commissioner Gunner, that is just the complete motion as written for the.
Correct.
Okay.
Oh,
Anyone opposed? That is carried. The Recreate Project Design Work Contract Award for receipt.
move receipt.
Thank
Second.
you. Seconder, Commissioner Mogla. Discussion on receipt.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So we'll.
Go ahead, Mr. Leach.
Oh, just gonna say, Wolf insisted we save the best for last, so we'll let Wolf speak to this report, and then he's happy to answer any questions.
Through the CAO and the chair to the commission members, good afternoon, everyone. This is a report with regards hiring a prime consultant and a group of sub-consultants to move the schematic design that was completed back in 2018 forward in order to have a shovel-ready project. So this recommendation was passed in 2020, and back in December 2020, the SRD engaged Make Projects, which is a project management company based in Vancouver. We're experienced with this kind of complex projects, including the hospitals in Campbell River and Comox and a few recreational buildings in the Lower Mainland, to help us develop the RFP. Engineering services and Make Projects work together for the last couple of months to have an RFP completed, uploaded on BCBeat, and closed on February 16 of 2021. We were very successful with this procurement process. We received 8 proposals from architectural firms, all of them based in the Lower Mainland, 80% in the Lower Mainland and one of them in Victoria. And they all are very reputable and great architectural firms to work with. An evaluation committee was formed. Part of this committee was Corinne Grag and myself. We also have 2 professionals from the Lower Mainland from Make Projects evaluating as well. We developed a very detailed criteria. We just didn't want to select a prime consultant based on professional fees. We were looking at the expertise. We were looking at the team, understanding the project, understanding the community and the needs that we have here in Campbell River, and also based on the experience in other projects that they have completed for other municipalities and regional districts. The results of the RFP and a final consensus, and after an interview, we put in a recommendation to hire HCMA architectural group based in Vancouver. HCMA have the best proposal. They're the second lowest, have the second lowest professional fees compared to the other architectural firms, but overall they score the highest. And that is our recommendation to the board. Additional to that, we have some other costs that we estimated $450,000, and this includes owners, consultants like cost consultant, geotechnical, and envelope. Some consultants are normally a prime consultant does no carry. The total cost from HCMA is 1.47 million. Added to that is the owners consultants for a total of 9.92. 1.92 is below the budget that we presented to the board last year, which is 1.97. My goal for now is to, if this recommendation is approved, is to take this to the board. If the board approves, is to continue procuring other professionals that we need to actually have a project design, construction documents completed by spring 2022, which is next year. Does anyone have any questions?
Thank you, Wolfgang. Excellent overview, commissioners. Runner.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Wolfgang. Sounds like it was a very in-depth process, and it's good to see that there's 8 engineering firms out looking for this work. That may mean that they're not too busy and construction is not too busy, and the dollars may be a little more reputable. So, thank you.
Thank you. Sorry, just to add up the, all these consultants are really based in the Lower Mainland, but they're very interested in this kind of projects. This is very appealing to them. Projects that are just for the community, something that they always look forward to.
Thank you. Commissioner Kerr.
Thank you, Chair, and thanks for the report. I'm not quite up to date on where we stand with this project right now. We still don't have a source of funding for the project. And my other question is, does this include any public consultation process, or this is just strictly technical?
Well, thank you, Councillor Kerr. To bring you up to speed, we did have the full consultation when we did the plan for Strathcona Gardens. Numerous sessions held for the public to contribute. And what we are doing is positioning. We have a grant application in with that Mr. Leach can update us the time frame on, but what we are doing is trying to position and have things not only shovel ready but money ready, and with the award of this contract have it design ready, so that we are in the best position possible should we be successful on the grant funding, that we can have the project completed within the timeframes of that grant application. Wolfgang, you had your hand up. Did you want to add anything?
Thank you, Mayor Adams. I think you have responded to the question. Thanks.
Thank you. Mr. Leach, do you have anything you want to add?
So just a few things for Commissioner Kerr. So yeah, we do have a grant application in. It's for about $9.5 million. So when we were unsuccessful in our first application, we got feedback from the province on how we should tweak it and what we should focus on. So we did that. We've been communicated to that in the summer of this year. That's when notifications will be out. Our application is in line with other applications they have handed out for similar projects and similar amounts, so we're quite confident. We've also been instructed to have projects shovel ready, and I think we're more shovel ready than anyone in terms of we have a plan, a financial plan for, I would say, an A and B, depending on if we get the money and if we don't get the money. So we've communicated that to the province. We're going ahead with design. We had schematic design done, and it would be tender ready. So if they're looking for something that falls within the parameters of the program and is ready to go, nobody is more prepared than the SRD in terms of this package.
Thank you. Commissioner Lee?
So just to recap on the money, it's a $50 million project, which we might get $9.5 million through grants. So, and what's our status on our reserves? We've been saving.
Yeah, so we have, here's kind of refresh on the plan. So you 50 million, which includes cost escalation in there. And one piece of good news that we get back from tendering out this project is that our budget numbers are actually good, which, you know, is shocking half the time. We all know working in local government, we estimate 2 and it becomes 4. So that's really great that we got lots of feedback. That was really great. So we have, by the end of, you know, this year, we'll have about 7 million in reserves. So we're going to spend about 2 for the design, but that's all included in the package. And then our annual contributions to reserves gives us a borrowing authority amount. So we're somewhere where we can take the money we're contributing to reserves, we can borrow close to $30 million. We can amortize it out so we can cover that. So our plan kind of is high level here was $30 million contribution through borrowing on ourselves. By the time the project's ready to go, we'd have, let's say, $10 million, and then we'd get a 10 million grant to make up the 50 million. So our plan, or the commission's plan, was that we feel we have a $50 million project that we can execute without increasing the requisition to Area D and the City of Campbell River. So that what we'd like to go out and say, when we get this money, say, hey, look, we have to borrow this money. The good news is it doesn't increase your requisition at all, and we're going to have a $50 million renovation to the facility for existing dollars.
So we could borrow 30 million without increasing the tax requisition.
Yeah, that's our plan, plus or minus. So, you know, when you take our, I don't know, 1.5 or so that we're putting away and you use that as a mortgage payment, you amortize that over, I think it was a 25-year period, you get about $30 million. So roughly though, you got 30, 10, and 10, and that's how we get our 50.
Mm-hmm. No need for a referendum.
Well, we would. What we do is the same thing we did for this building. And so we went out and we said, hey, we need to borrow $2 million to buy our office. But the good news is we already have the mortgage payment and it wouldn't cost you anything. And I think we had 4 people write in and oppose.
So you do an alternate approval process.
Yeah, and we'd do the same messaging. We'd say, you know, we have to borrow 30, we need your authority, but it's not going to cost you anything more.
Okay.
Thank you. Commissioner Kerr?
Thank you. So the $50 million at the end of the day, that is the complete job, ice rinks, everything, or this is just the pool end of it?
Pool and common area. Pool and common area, no ice rink. So we were at about 72, 75 with ice rink. So we're 50 million with pool and common area.
So is there any deviation or is there going to be any deviation from the initial recreate planning that went into that in terms of design and layout, and or is it pretty much going to follow what was presented to the public during that process?
Yeah, it's gonna.
It's essentially following the plan that was already presented and approved. It's just the order has been changed. So what we've actually done is where there was going to be phase 1, 2, and 3. We've actually done 3, 2, or 3, 1, and 2, because we've already done the upgrades to the mechanical. We've done the upgrades to rink 2, which was going to be the last one. Now the pool will be broken up into 2 phases, where we'll build the new pool while the old pool's still in operation, and then open up the new one, and then work on that middle section, which will be enhanced wellness, fitness, our island health contract, and studio rooms, and that whole foyer. And then the last piece will be the final phase 3, which is the Brindamore Arena, which there is not included in this, has no funding source at this particular point in time, but the plans stay as is, as they've been prepared.
So just a couple things to add to that, Commissioner Kerr, is on public consultation, the number one piece of feedback we got from the residents was do not shut the facility down. They supported Recreate, but they wanted it open while we did it. So we incorporated a phased design in there to keep the pool open and that's why we have the new pool in a different location. The other thing that an advantage we have here is that we're keeping the arena separate, so the arena will always stay as an opportunity for a future program. So and it will cut down the cost. So it will look at, let's say, 25 million for future opportunities, and we'll always have that in hand, and we'll always pursue that.
So the actual pool and health center design, is there perimeters, or is this the architect firm is going to get creative on that, and that's going to come back to the board, or how do you see that process? Because obviously you don't need an architectural firm to do it if it's already pre-designed.
Well, we've already done it. Yeah.
The conceptual design is complete. This is now going to detailed design from the conceptual.
Great. Okay.
Wolfgang?
I think he just probably forgot to put his hand down. So anyway, Commissioner Kerr, and it's the same company too.
I think Mr. Leach, Wolfgang is there.
Go ahead.
Sorry, Dave. I apologize. I was muted. So this is just to validate the response given by Mayor Adams and Dave Leach. The design, the concept design will be respected. We will continue using that to proceed with detailed design. We have to validate the program, and we will introduce presentations to an advisory committee and to this meeting as well once we reach the 3 stages, which is the schematic design, the end, construction documents, and design development drawings. So everybody knows exactly where we are with the design and what's being designed by the architect and the engineers. And all that, again, has to be validated as well by the committee that is being formed or will be formed, including the end users and, Strathcona Gardens staff and others.
That's good. Great news.
Thank you. And I think it goes without saying that whenever you are moving from a conceptual design to a detailed design, there are always some adjustments that need to be made, but they're going to be following the principle and the timeline layout that has already been established. So is there anything further on the motion?
Still on receipt, Mr. Chair.
We're on receipt?
Yes. Yes.
Commissioner Lee?
I just wanted to ask, many moons ago, we did architectural design with Johnson Sport Architecture, I believe it was, for the Wellness Center. We paid them good money to do that. I'm just wondering if we can use any of their ideas that are in that plan for the Wellness Center, if anything like that would apply. I'm going back to like 97 or something when we had them do a plan. They had an elevator built in going up to the 2nd floor, and they had quite detailed design.
No, but the good news is we have all that stuff, the conceptual schematics done. So that kind of ship has sailed, I guess.
Okay.
Commissioner Kerr?
Yeah, I was just going to say, I think having gone through this COVID situation for the last year, certainly factoring some of the learning that we've had through that process would probably make some changes to the facility too, at least more of an awareness of the future rather than looking back to the past. So it's I'm sure that'll be taken into consideration.
Okay, so we're going to go on receipt. I'm going to call the question. Is anyone opposed? That is carried, and I'll entertain a motion on B, please.
I'll move B.
Second.
Thanks. We have the Grunerud Kerr duet.
You got it, Ron. You got it, Ron.
I'll arm wrestle you.
Discussion on B. Commissioner Lee, your hand is up.
Oh, no, I forgot to put it down again. Sorry.
Anybody else? I just want to weigh in that I am absolutely delighted with this recommendation from a couple of years ago when Commissioner Gunnerud and Lee and the CAO and Ms. Smith, and we did the tour in the Lower Mainland to the facilities. I've been really, really impressed with HCMA. They listen, they are very engaging, and with the last comments regarding making the adjustments to accommodate the new world post-COVID, I think they will be a great choice to work with and make those adjustments that need be. So I will have a subsequent, but I will call the question on B. Is anyone opposed? That is carried. Commissioner Lee, could you take the chair for me, please?
Sure. Okay, anything further
Well,
on this report?
I have a subsequent.
Okay,
That
go ahead.
again, Mr. Yates, if you can get this recording, if not, I can send it to you. That the CAO and the chair be approved to send letters to Minister Osborne and MLA Babchuk on the award to HCMA and our continued commitment to the Recreate project, and look forward to the continued partnership with the province on a positive funding announcement to cost share with the SRD Strathcona Gardens Commission for this significant infrastructure project.
Thank you.
Second.
That's been moved and seconded. Adams, and the seconder was Moklov, I believe. So any discussion on the motion?
If I may just briefly, I know it's somewhat self-explanatory, but if we keep providing that positive updates to the ministers that are directly responsible to the grant award, and every little bit may help.
Okay. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll ask if there's any objection to the motion. Hearing no objection, that carries. And I'll
Thank you.
pass it back.
Thank you, Commissioner Lee. Mr. Yates or Mr. Leach, no bylaws, no correspondence.
No, we're all done.
I guess the only correspondence would be the BIJHL announcement, but I think we know what that is, so that's we don't have it for receipt, even though you have it and I have it. So,
Mr.
I think
Chairman, sorry to interrupt. There was, I believe, and I could be mistaken, was there not another letter to Minister of Municipal Affairs regarding the status of this project that you?
No, that was just the one. That was just a resolution that he passed.
Okay, that was the same issue.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
yep. Okay, so with that, no closed session. Thank you, everyone, for your continued
Termination.
and we have a
Second.
motion and a second. Thank you, staff, for continued great work on this. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.